All right, so boom, at 18, I went from having literally $0 to saving my first 10K, right? No magic, no luck, just really three habits that changed everything. Um, to be completely honest, when I was 18, I had crashed one of my cars. I had to buy a complete new car. I was on my senior week trip for vacation. A lot of crazy things happened. I was working an unpaid internship, and I really bust my life up with a 10K in less than a year. I just really want to put everybody else on game. Here are three things that made the biggest difference. For y'all who don't know me, I'm 6K Mon. I make videos on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow me everywhere. I'm really just about teaching people how to manage their wealth correctly, bro, and how to really run that bag up. The first point I did, bro, maximizing your time, right? So you're going to realize you have way more time than you actually think that you have once you start tracking your time, right? It got to a point, bro, where I was just walking around, living every day like it really didn't matter, living like I had unlimited time. No, bro, you need to have a schedule, right? So I was working at a State Farm at the time. I sat back and I realized I used to work at a State Farm from like 6 to like 2. I would go home, I'd play the game for 8 hours, sit, eat pizza, DoorDash. I really wasn't doing much of anything. Then I sat back and thought about it. Bro, I could get a part-time job and just work 4 hours. Now, I wasn't working at 4 hours every single day, right? I'm going to keep it a bean. I was working at about every 3 to 4 days. But what I really want to stress is if you're getting off of work, bro, and you're going home and you're doing absolutely nothing until you go to sleep, that's not going to be feasible, bro. You're not really challenging yourself. And that's not to say that working one job isn't okay, right? Because at the end of the day, I chose to get a second job. But in that time, you may decide to pick up a hobby. You may decide to pick up a hobby that can become something that's going to make you money in the future. You may decide to do things like start streaming, You may decide to start a YouTube account like I'm doing, right? But you really need to cut low value habits that are just holding you back. Things like social media excessively, bro. Your screen time shouldn't be crazy every day. You don't need to hang out with your friends every single day. It's good to hang out with your mans, but you ain't got to do that every single day. Start replacing your time wasters with money builders, right? That might be picking up extra shift. Like I said, that might be doing a side gig, or it could be learning skills that pay. Like literally, I literally took the time to get a second job, but I could have been learning how to edit. I could have been learning how to code, sales, design, all of that stuff. The big idea is, bro, your time is the first source of your money, bro. You really don't have to work harder than everybody else. You just got to use the hours that everybody else is throwing away. That's how you're going to get ahead. So I started working at a retail store. I was doing those 4 hours, and through doing those 4 hours, about 4 to 5 days a week, so about 20 hours a week, every 2 weeks, I was probably bringing home about an extra $500, $400. And that leads directly to my next point, which I'm going to talk about in just a sec. So like I said, I was making an extra $400 or $500 every 2 weeks, right? This leads directly to my second point, yo. Put your bread in a high yield savings account, HYSA, bro. Pause the video, write that down, because people be hearing me say that and then act like I'm not talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. A high yield savings account is going to be different than a normal savings account that you have, right? A high yield savings account is an account it's going to pay you better interest than your regular account, right? So at the time, I had a BOA account. That joint was giving me 0.01% interest, right? Now, I don't know if you know, but I had my first K, I had my first $1,000, and they paid me 1 penny. I'm like, nah, bro, this can't be right. I had to switch my money over to a high yield savings account at the time during COVID, was giving me about 4% back in interest, right? This means that my money was compounding without me having to do anything. So when I was working at that retail store and working my normal job, I was putting in a lot of my income. I would have a strategy where I would take care of all of my bills early in the month, and then kind of that second check that I got during the month, I called it my free check, right? With my free check, I was putting up a good chunk of money every month into the high yield saving, right? And it doesn't have to be a lot, but even if it's $20 a week that you're putting in a high yield savings, bro, once it's in the right place, it's going to start working for you. The goal is to have your money working just as hard as you're working, if not harder. And a good way to do that is to put your money in a high yield savings account. Seeing my money grow made me want to save more money, right? Because I'm getting 4% on the money I'm putting in there. So I'm like, okay, if I grind it out and I make more money, I'm only, going to get more interest. That's how you got to think about it. Seeing my money work for me made me grind even harder, because to be completely honest, bro, I didn't want to work every day. So I wanted to get my money to a point where it was going to be working for me and doing miraculous things, bro. The first time I saw the interest in my account, I realized it was the closest thing to free money I was ever going to get. And I really mean that, bro. Have some bread working for you on the side. When I say I ran up $0 to 10K, I didn't just make 10K. I didn't just work at my job until I got 10K. Honestly, I really made it probably about 9 or closer to 8 and some change in the interest, and the stock market did the rest of the work for me. That's the position you want to set yourself up in, right? Because you don't want to just work to the bone forever. You want to have your money working on the side as well. Last point, and this one is going to be so important for people that are in your teenage years, yo, especially for my guys out there, yo. Y'all gotta learn this before anything, bro. Learn to say no. This is the part that's not really like talking about a job or talking about a way to make money. This is talking about the emotional mindset heavy part, right? Like this is that internal battle that you're going to have with yourself. Excuse me. I keep coughing. So saying no to peer pressure, right? My friends, some of them wanted to go out every night. They wanted to buy the newest fast fashion, right? I'll never forget. One of my friends, he like, yo, I'm about to buy this denim tier shirt. Shirt was like $1,000 or something. And I felt like I had to buy it because that's my friend and I didn't want to be left out. But when I look back, I'm like, $1,000 on a shirt, bro, that's not really helping me reach my goals. So I had to start saying no, bro. Really, in actuality, bro, I learned that 10K was really less about making money and really about protecting the money that I already had. You can't go everywhere and do everything all the time, bro. If you out here trying to go to every club night, you're trying to buy every bottle, you're trying to get every new pair of shoes, you're trying to get every new game, every new console, you're probably not going to be able to run up no money. And a lot of the people around you that's doing that, they might look like they have money and it might look cute, but in actuality, they probably really struggling at the end of the day, bro, because a lot of people don't live lifestyles that's conducive to keep that up. Every time I say no to something small, I was saying yes to something bigger. And to be completely honest, like I'm 23 now, that was 5 years ago, bro. So what I'm gonna tell you is I've seen massive differences in that 5-year period from the people who were saying yes to everything versus me who was saying no to specific stuff. And don't get me wrong, I want to have this in here as a disclaimer, bro. You don't have to say no to every single thing, right? I'm not just saying you got to stay in the house and eat noodles until you make it. That's not what I'm saying. But you do have to be strategic about where you choose to lend your time. Because to be very honest with you, everything doesn't deserve your time. You don't need to make it to anything. And honestly, like I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Saying no to certain stuff really did keep me safe, right? It kept me out of some situations that probably weren't even good for me at the end of the day. I'm going to be completely honest for you. I know I said I'm going to do 3 things, but it's one more specific key thing that I have to throw in here. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else, bro. It was days where I had to work. People would be like, bro, you're a loser for going to work, bro. All you want to do is work. All you want to do is give money. I got to a point where I was like, dang, bro, are those people right, bro? Like, should I really be, limiting myself? Then I'm like, you know what? Heck no, I'm tripping, bro. Let me go clock in and go to work, bro. You're going to have to work to get to that 10K. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to come overnight. You're going to have to isolate yourself at some times. You're going to have to miss some events. You might even have to miss some things you might really want to do or you might be doing on an everyday basis. That's fine. Don't start comparing your situation to anybody else and don't start thinking bad on yourself because you're doing what you got to do, bro. As a man, you got to lock in sometimes and just go ahead and take care of business. All right, that's pretty much all I had. I've been trying to make more videos like this. I got to get more consistent with posting the long form content. So y'all definitely show my page some love. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If I could start with 0 or 18, bro, so can you. Like I said, I crashed my car. I really did not have any money to my name. I want to throw a picture of my bank account in here. I think I had like $7, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And I really had to run it up. So listen, if you want a deeper breakdown or a part 2, let me know, yo. Let me know, what you got going on in the comments, bro. Even if you want me to just speak some life into you or this video helped in some way, bro, please let me know, yo. Have a good one. Y'all be easy. Stay safe.